Now inside the final 2.5, Wonderwood has gone on. In second position is Gold Ring. Turbo kicks it in late to the outside. Perfect Storm is next. Then comes Eastern Breeze from well off the pace. Palamedes is picking up down the centre of the track. Turbo now locks horns with Gold Ring in the centre. Over on the far side is Wonderwood. Perfect Storm is back in fourth. Inside the final furlong now of the November Handicap, and it's Tony Clark and Turbo who forge the lead. Gold Ring in second place up towards the line, and it's the November Handicap which goes to Turbo.
And Toby, you're very much, you know, racing, as we've said, and we've named a couple of things, has changed. We all know that. Some people would say it's better, some people would say it's not as much fun maybe these days. But you're very much part, you like all that skullduggery, don't you? That's for you is part of the, I mean, I say skullduggery, you weren't technically doing anything much wrong, just not trying a few times.
Well, not even that. I had him properly prepared and placed for the races he was running in.
But you mentioned Scaramanda. What's this about you having scissors down at the start for him?
Well, that was only because he was a non-starter. Yes, he was a reluctant starter. And
how do you encourage a horse to start with a pair of scissors, though, Toby, other than sticking them in its backside?
Stick it up his bum. And my travelling head lad at the time, John Price, who's famous in racing circles, had a few quid on him as well, and Archie, who rode him, had also done the same. And they needed him to start, and they made bloody sure he did start too. Ali Pally.
Super Kid gets through, Simonis picks up, coming through, Sight on Gold, Frankie pushes out, picks up, responds, Valiant Chante has to give it two, Phoenix Reach darted to the front, but very quickly coming after it, Sight on Gold has a length to make up, but chases hard, Sight on Gold must left, Phoenix Reach fighting hard, holding a half-length break, and Phoenix Reach gets the money, half a length, Sight on Gold second.
Rascala hit the lead, 300 metres out, Phoenix Reach into the clear, gives chase to Rascala, Gray's in on the outside with Powers caught, it's Phoenix Reach going up to Rascala at the 100 metres mark, Phoenix Reach takes the lead, draws a length and a half in front of Rascala, Collier is third, Phoenix Reach wins the Shahima Classic 2 lengths.
Ian was very much seen, Andrew, as an international trainer, and obviously at the start of your career, Phoenix Reach, did you carry that on because you felt international racing was part of it? Was it because Phoenix Reach basically could win the big races abroad but wouldn't win the big races here?
I think a combination, but the prize money was so good. And I'm not as brave as Uncle Toes. I couldn't have, lay one out for the Portland and then have a few quid on it. So we had to make some money. So better running in Canada for $2 million than at home for 100,000. So that's why he ended up doing that. And the other thing was he took his travelling so well. So I think he raced in obviously England, France, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, Canada, America, probably somewhere else as well. But he was an amazing horse,
He
really.
Classic, he won over 600,000.
Dubai, yeah. No, he won 2 million quid, and he probably was, he was a very good Group 2 horse.
But in many ways, you're doing the same as Toby, but just in a different way. Toby was gambling with some cash and laying one out. You were gambling with your horse abroad to win big bucks, effectively.
Yeah, and look, he was a great horse for me at the start of my training career. But he, and he'll always be very special, as will Casual Look. And I think when you look back at, hearing Uncle Toes and Dad talk, I think a trainer's career is defined by the good horses they train. And although Phoenix Reach will never be a household name, to me he was a very special horse, and he was, to win 3 Group 1s in 3 different continents is quite an achievement. But
he's made himself a little bit of a scion, he says. Phoenix Reach is winning races.
Getting there, hopefully he will do. But it is amazing, if I can sit back and you can mention names like Morley Street and Mill Reef. I haven't had anything like that, might never have anything like that, but that's what it's all about, is to be able to finish a career and say, I trained X, Y and Z.
You will.
Yeah. And you're very young. I mean, what we're hoping is in 30 years' time, obviously it won't be me, but, someone will be sat here with your kids and they'll be saying, oh, Andrew, he laid that Phoenix Reach out for the Shima Classic and all this kind of stuff. That's what life's about.
Pentecost towards the outside begins to get unleashed now by Fallon. Colosse's next to the field, followed by Camp Commander, and Calcutta is last. A furlong to go now, and Vortex has got the lead. But here on the outside comes Kieran Fallon, and Pentecost, last year's winner, and he's now got that white blaze in front. 150 yards to go. First win of the day for Kieran Fallon. It's Pentecost, back-to-back wins in the mile.
but it's Samaritz coming again here to go up the side glance. King of Dixie's dropped away. Eden Forever still boxing on well as they come up with just over a furlong to go. Out in front, side glance for Jimmy Fortunus, now powering away. He's gone 2, 3, 4 lengths in front, and this is a big win. Side glance in the famous Mill Reef colours comes up to win it well by 5 lengths.
Ian, when we come back to you though, I mean, we go through some of the horses you train: Mill Reef, Lochsong, Mrs. Penny, Glint of Gold. Diamond Shoal used to be one of my favourites. I remember him so nearly winning a King George, Golden Ivory, Selker, such a great sire these days, Forest Flower, Dashing Blade, Silver Fling, Lock Angel, Crystal Spirit over jumps. I mean, it's great horses. I know Lochsong though, I mean, if Mill Reef was the horse that gave you the most pleasure, which I'm presuming she did, Lochsong would presumably be very close, if not on a level.
Frankie sitting quiet as a church mouse as they come to the final furlong now. It's Lochsong 4 in front. She's bounding clear. Now he goes for her. She's opened up a gap here of 4 or 5 lengths on Blighton Lad. Further back is Westman up and at him. But look at her go. Lochsong, she's 5 in front and she's going to walk home with a King's Stand. She's going to win hands down by about 6 lengths.
Yeah, she was a very special lady. She, particularly as she started, really, Jeff Smith, I remember saying to me, just win a little race. She's a well-bred filly. Win one little race and I'll take her back to the stud. And we went to Redcar to win a 7 furlong maiden as a 3-year-old.
Ray Cochrane
knocking spots off her to win, which she did.
So you started Mill Reef over 5 and Lochsong over 7. I'm not sure you knew what you were doing at all, Ian.
Well, Jeff Smith says it took the trainer 3 years to find her right distance, which is almost true. And it wasn't until we started running over 5 furlongs that she became a legend, really. But she was not easy to train. I mean, I used to have to lead her on my hack. And luckily she fell in love with this old half-bred hunter of my wife's. And she'd follow him anywhere. And I'd get her onto the canter and away she'd go. And then I'd come up slowly and she was waiting for me at the top. Or waiting for the horse rather than me. But she wasn't easy to train, but she was a legend. She was just wonderful. Very, very fast indeed.
The Queen of Speed, Lochsong, is cleared by 2. And the roars are going up from the crowd, but don't rule out Mr. Topajigio. And trying to come through next to the rails. And he's coming with a run on the inside of Lake Deeds. They've got just under a furlong to go. And it's Lochsong cleared by 3. Here comes Mr. Topajigio in pursuit in second, but it's unevading. And Lochsong has a burnt them away. Lochsong takes the race again. Mr. Topajigio completes it 1-2. French through for third, but it's Lochsong's race, and at the post, Lochsong clear by 5. Lochsong wins the Abbey.
And her Abbey win, would that have been the most exciting?
I think the second year it was amazing because she'd run away on the way to the start to the Nunthorpe, so she'd blown the Nunthorpe, and we had to get her down to the start of the Abbey in one piece, which Frankie managed, and she just blew them away. You know, it was wonderful to watch. And Frankie, of course, took her for a parade in front of the stands, which wasn't sort of a normal thing in France, but she got a tremendous reception.
It's funny because obviously we have, Jeff Smith has been our biggest owner here and thankfully stayed with me, a wonderful man to train for, but when you mentioned Scaramanga, ridden by Ron Sheether was Jeff's original trainer, and he's the reason the horses came here.
Yes,
he was an amazing
absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
Ron
and he was Jeff's manager.
Yeah.
Yes, he was Jeff's manager for many years, and just the most wonderful guy.
Ronnie.
Yes.
Oh, amazing guy. I mean, that's a story in that he was apprenticed to Ernie Davey, and he got too heavy, and Ernie Davey tried to orchestrate his future for him and sent him to our father to go jumping, at which he was absolutely useless. I mean, if they stood off too far, he used to just fall off. And I think it was realised that there wasn't a big jumping future for him in England, so he was sent to America, where actually I think he might have even been champion jockey one year, but it would have been ridden 8 or 9 winners. And he had a serious fall, and more importantly, had no insurance cover. So he was sort of scraped off the racetrack where there was no jockey's insurance or anything, and sort of put together after a fashion. And we all got together and got him back to England. And he came back to England, and I mean, he couldn't walk, could he, really?
No, but he was 2 stone lighter, wasn't he?
Oh yes, but he was 2 stone lighter, so he then became my flat jockey.
Flat jockey.
And rode a lot of winners for me.
Yeah.
I mean, was a very good tactician, was a brainy jockey, you know, a good northern boy, used to delivering the goods, which he did. He rode, amongst others, Scaramanda.
And he was brilliant. I remember he used to ring every Saturday morning after the horses work to get an update on Jeff's horses. This is when I started training. And he was one of those guys that said, well, I've got this in at Salisbury next week. What do you think Jeff would think if we put whoever the £7 claimer was on at the time? Yeah, you'll have no problem with that. Give the kid a chance. And that was always his saying, wasn't it? Give the kid a chance. And you have then, it's to get sort of apprentices going. When you got...
It was brilliant. Well, we had, with Lochsong, we had Frances Arrowsmith was our apprentice. He rode her everywhere here because she was difficult, as I was saying. And her 3rd race ever was an apprentice handicap at Newbury. And Jeff was away in America, and I said to Ron, do you think we can run her an apprentice handicap to give the boy who rides her every day a ride? He said, of course you can. So anyway, and Scully just, again, 7 furlongs at Newbury. And she just hung on and won a whisker. And anyway, and of course he rode her when she won the Air Gold Cup, claimed 7 and won on her the Air Gold Cup. So it was entirely, I mean, Jeff, of course, as well, but Ron Sheether, who sort of encouraged the boys very much to get a ride.
Yes, I mean, one of the real unsung heroes. Same
Yes.
as he did train a classic winner.
Yes.
He trained, Ron, and he probably never had more than 30 horses. He trained a group winner or a listed winner every year he trained, which is with 30 horses, amazing, really.